The video editing app called Capcut is going to be the easiest and best solution for editing video on your mobile device. 1, it's free. 2, there's no watermark. And 3, there's so many effects and features. Every beginner, every advanced editor is going to have a lot of fun inside Capcut. And so in today's video, what we're going to be doing is actually going to be editing a real video that I'm going to be uploading later for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram Reels. So without further ado, let's get into the edit. So now we're inside the Capcut mobile video editing app. There's a few housekeeping things we need to do to prepare ourselves for the video edit. And this video is around the topic of the first video ever made. You'll learn about the story here in a second. So the first thing you want to do is click on this button called New Project. And that's going to open up the media gallery. Now these are the files that are actually on your phone. You see we have photos and videos alike. And we're just simply going to tap these to select them. You can piecemeal the edit together, but I find it a lot easier to import everything all at once, to have everything on the timeline so you know exactly what you're working with. So there's shows about 6 clips, video and photo alike, and we're going to click on this button down here called Add. And that's going to load those files into our Capcut editing timeline. As you can see here, as I scroll through, we can see all the assets right there on the timeline. Now, the very first thing you want to do before you start editing anything in Capcut is know what resolution or ratio your video is going to be. And what I mean by that is if you scroll over here on this bottom toolbar and click on Format, you're going to be presented with the different ratios to select what your video is going to be outputted in. For instance, here we see 9:16, that's vertical, 16:9, that's widescreen, 1:1, that's square, and you can see you have a lot of other options here for other types of videos. But in this case, we're going to be editing vertical video, so we want to select on 9:16. And as you can see right there, it puts it into the 9:16 frame. So now we're going to hit this little arrow here to go back to this main toolbar. The next thing we want to do is mute all the clips. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be recording a voiceover onto this video. So all the clips here, most of them are photos, but should you have a video clip like this one, now this video is actually silent, but should you have clips on here that have sound behind them and you don't want that sound, you simply want to click on this button right here on the left called Mute Clip Audio, and that's going to turn the sound off on all the clips on the timeline. The last housekeeping thing we want to do is scroll to the very end of our timeline over to where we see the Capcut watermark. Now this is a watermark graphic that goes on the end of each video edited inside Capcut. But what's awesome about Capcut is you can actually delete this watermark graphic from your timelines by simply tapping on it and then hitting the button right here for delete. And now it's gone. If you accidentally hit the button, it'll come back. So just hit that and delete. And now there will not be any watermark on your video within Capcut. Pretty amazing. So now the next step for the video I'm editing today is to record my voiceover. And I have actually written a video script to voice right here inside Capcut. So what I have done is snapped a photo of that script, and it should be right here in my photos. So to add any new media to the existing timeline, we can simply click on this plus button right here, this white plus button. Click on that, and that's going to launch our media gallery. I'm going to click into photos. I'm going to scroll up to the most recent photos, and this is my script right here. We can tap it, we can see it, we can select it, and then click on add. And that's going to put it right inside our timeline. Because what I'm going to be using this for is a visualizer as I'm reading my script and doing my voiceover. So I'm projecting that this video is going to be about 30 to 45 seconds in length. So what we're going to do is we're going to click and drag on this right handle here. And if you don't see the right handle, you can simply select the clip by tapping on it, and that gives you the handles. So we're going to click and drag all the way over, and as we drag, you see these numbers on the very far left. That's about 10 seconds. We're going to keep dragging all the way over till we get about, let's just do a minute just to be safe. 60 seconds right there, and let go. Now we can scroll back to the very beginning of our timeline. And now we're ready to do a voiceover. So to do that, we can either click on this button called Add Audio right down here under the image, or we can click on this audio button in our toolbar, and that's going to bring us to the same place. And then we're going to simply click on this thing called VoiceOver. And what I recommend you do when you hold this button to record your voiceover is to hold it for like 1 or 2 seconds before you start talking. This will prevent your audio from being clipped. Should you go ahead and hold it and start talking right away, it's going to clip your audio and you don't want that. All right, so we're going to hold it and then I'm going to start talking. Have you ever wondered when video recording actually began? Well, back in 1888, French inventor Louis Le Prince staked his claim in history by recording a short video titled The Roundhay Garden Scene. And while this was the first dancing video clip recorded, it would certainly foreshadow what was to come of short-form video content. I'm going to redo that last line. It would certainly foreshadow what was to come of short-form video content. And then once you're done recording, you just simply let go of the button, and as you can see here, now we have our voiceover inside Capcut. Now what we're going to do is we're going to first edit and trim our voiceover. This is what we call the A-roll. Back in old TV days, there was A-roll and there was B-roll. A-roll was the audio and B-roll was the footage. So what we would do back in the tape-to-tape editing days is we would lay down the audio first and then go back and lay the B-roll on top of it. And that's exactly how I edit my videos. It's exactly how I'm going to teach you how to edit today. So now what we want to do is simply go through the audio we just recorded, and we want to basically take out any of the pauses that are present. And you may have heard a couple times I messed up on my line and I went back and re-recorded it. I call that a pickup. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this clip, this audio clip, by selecting it. And what I like to do is zoom in on the timeline, and we can do that by putting our fingers on the screen and then pinching outwards. And that's going to extend the timeline, as you can see here. And I like to do that when I'm editing and trimming the video and audio clips on the timeline, because it allows you to get a more kind of zoomed in view of what the clip actually is. So since we know that these edits need to be nice and tight, so we need to go ahead and click on this voiceover. And then with this handle here, we're going to click and drag it, and it'll snap to the little playhead, or we can just go a little further. So now we want to move this piece of audio to the very beginning of the video. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and click on this and hold it, long press and drag. Okay, so now we can put the playhead back at the beginning and play it. Have you ever wondered when video recording actually began? So that's our first sentence. Now what we want to do is keep this nice and tight, so we can tap this and we want to click on split, and that's going to cut that clip right there and allow us to trim it. So now we're going to take this white handle and we're going to drag it back to here. Now what I like to do to make sure it's nice and tight is I like to drag the audio down to the second audio layer and line this up, so as soon as I get done talking on this line starts playing. Let's review. Recording actually began? Well, back in 18... And that sounds nice and tight. So now this is where I say end with the word garden scene. I'm going to make a split. I'm going to trim back. And then I'm going to long press, move it up, over, and about right there. Scroll back and now review. Roundhay Garden Scene. The silent 2-second film. Going to redo that? All right, so that's where I messed up. So I'm actually going to go ahead and select that. We're going to split this, and then this is the one where I messed up, so we don't need this. So I can select that one and hit this button down here for delete. Now we're going to drag this clip back. We're going to hold it, and we're going to drag it back, and it's going to piecemeal itself back over. And then we want to drag it about right on top, right where this one ends and this one begins. So let's review. The Roundhay Garden Scene. The silent 2-second film was captured with Le Prince's single-lens video camera. All right, so now we can zoom out and we can see over here that this clip, audio clip, ends at about 35 seconds. So that's about the length of our video, right? So now we can go back and just review it all just to make sure everything sounds right. Have you ever wondered when video recording actually began? Well, back in 1888, French inventor Louis Le Prince staked his claim in history by recording a short video titled The Roundhay Garden Scene. The silent 2-second film was captured with Le Prince's single-lens video camera and is believed to be the oldest surviving motion picture ever, and has heralded Louis Le Prince as the father of cinematography. The recorded clip shows 4 people gleefully walking and dancing in a circle, and while this was the first dancing video clip recorded, it would certainly foreshadow what was to come of short-form video content.
All right, everything sounds amazing. So now what we want to do to click on this script little image that we use for our voiceover, click on that and hit delete, because we don't need that in our video. So now we see the clips that we started out with on our timeline, and now we just need to place them in order, or otherwise edit, or my terminology that I like to use is see and say. That's how videos are made, see and say. So the voice, the audio, right, our voiceover, this guides what should be shown in the video. And this is how we make exact edits. So now, since we have our A-roll down, the next thing we want to do is add the B-roll. The B-roll is our images and our video clips that we have imported into the timeline. Now it's important to note, the way I'm going to be doing it is I'm going to be laying down all of our, what I call basic B-roll. This is our basic B-roll cuts that will line up with the audio. After we have all that laid down, then I'll go back and add some effects to those video and photo clips to make it really pop. So let's start by adding the basic B-roll into our edit. So to start, let's go ahead and listen to this first line, which is about 3 seconds long.
Have you ever wondered when video recording actually began?
So now we know what it says. Let's scroll into our timeline here, and we're going to look for this one clip right here where I have a projector. All right, right here, we're going to long press. We're going to drag it through all these little squares to the very beginning. So now there's a couple things we need to do to make this clip fit. First and foremost, we want to trim it to make sure it fits within our 3-second audio clip here. So what we can do is click on the clip and then select split. And then the area that's highlighted right here, we can click on delete. So now we have trimmed the clip to fit our audio block. The next thing we want to do is go ahead and resize this clip so it fills the frame of our video. So to do that, we're going to click on the clip, and then up top here, you're going to see this little green outline around the clip. And you simply want to grab a hold of it in the middle and pinch outwards. And when you do that, it's going to increase the clip. This is how you resize video. So now we have resized this clip, but as you can see, we can't actually see the projector. So now we want to simply drag it over. Drag it, and you kind of see this little white bar. It'll kind of snap to. Let's review.
Have you ever wondered when video recording actually began? Well, back in...
Pacing is everything when you're editing, so we want to be making cuts every 2 to 3 seconds.
Well, back in 1888, French inventor Louis Le Prince...
All right, so right there, back in 1888, that's where we want the next clip to kind of show. So now let's match that with a photo of Louis Le Prince. I'm going to start with the photo right here. We're going to click and drag and make that the second clip. Drop it in there, right there. So that's about where I finished saying Le Prince. So let's simply click on this white handle and drag it back to the playhead, and it's going to kind of snap. You kind of see it snap, and you'll kind of feel it snap when you're editing on Capcut. Now what we want to do is resize this photo to fill the frame. So what we can do is increase it right there, and you'll kind of see it snap. That's when you know you've reached the edges of the frame. Then we can kind of just nudge them over a little bit to center them up. Again, we're going to put some effects after we lay down the basic B-roll. All right, since we're still talking about Louis Le Prince, let's continue to show him. We have another photo right here of him. So we're going to click, hold, and drag to the third clip and let go. And now we want this to extend out to about this spot right here. So let's just trim outwards to about there. Perfect. And then we can go ahead and click on his clip and go ahead and resize it to fill the frame. Again, what we don't want to do, we don't want to have these black bars on the sides. That just looks amateur. So we want to go ahead and just fill the frame. Snap it to, and now we have that laid down. And so we're about right here is where the next shot will begin. So what we're going to do is going to find the clip of the garden scene, which is right here. So this is the actual video, the first video ever made, and now we're editing a video with it. All right, so now we placed it, and as you can see, there's a lot of extra stuff on the front of this video that we don't want. We want to pick it up where it begins. You can see it kind of snaps, boom, right there. Select it, and we're going to split it, and we're going to hit delete. And that's going to take us to the beginning of that film. Now we want to go ahead and resize this bad boy. Bringing it all the way up to 9 by 16 is going to crop a lot of that out. And for the purposes of this video, since we're showing the video as is, we want to just, I guess, size it to where it fills the frame, but still shows the action, okay? Now I'm going to show you how to get rid of that black space in just a second. All right, where he says captured, that's where I want that clip to end. So what we're going to do is select this clip, we're going to click on split, and we're going to delete all this extra clip that we don't need. It's basically just this same video looping every 2 seconds because the actual video is only 2 seconds. So select it and delete. All right, now what we want to do is get rid of that black bar area, okay? This is something I like to do. So we're going to click on that little arrow to go back. We're going to use this toolbar to click over canvas. Now what you want to do is make sure your playhead is over top of the clip. Click on canvas and then click on blur. Okay, so now it brings up these options, and when I click on this, you can see it fills the frame with a blurred out version of the clip. So you can see it kind of follows the same, it's the same clip, it's just been, the frame has been filled with the blur. There you go, now we have filled the frame, and it actually looks a lot better than just having black up and down. All right, so now we have laid down all the basic B-roll for a video. Now we're going to go back and add some effects to really spice it up. The first effect we're going to apply is some color filters or some color correction. Now one of the things I want to do with all the B-roll in this video is add a sharpen effect, because all of these clips in this timeline have been sourced from Google and YouTube, and there is some compression involved in that process. So by sharpening it, it brings back some quality sharpness to it. So what I want to do is click on one clip, use this toolbar over here to scroll down over to adjust, and then we want to click on sharpen. Then I'll bring the sharpen up to about 30%, and then I want to click on apply all. It's going to apply all that sharpen effect to all the clips, so we don't have to do it individually. Now, most of this stuff is black and white, and that's okay. Now what we can do on this one, since it's a little dark, select that, scroll down over here to adjust, and then we can tweak the brightness. Maybe try to brighten it just a little bit. Maybe some contrast in there. Maybe some highlights and shadow. So now it's a little more brighter. I think that looks pretty good. And we'll go down to this clip. As you can see, is our TikTok clip. We can go ahead and maybe just add a little bit of saturation to brighten it up. All right, so now we have added color effects and color correction to our video. So now let's continue the fun by adding transitions. Capcut is full of awesome transitions. The transition will take place between two clips. And so we're going to click on this little white box right here. And then these are all the transitions that Capcut has. They got plenty of tabs to click inside, and since we're working within the film type of topic, we want to click on, I'm going to click on this light here, and that kind of gives us some of these old kind of light burn, color burn transitions that look really cool and feel appropriate for this video. I'm going to stick with this one right here called Old Film. And so you can see there, it looks really, really high end. Now, anytime we add a transition to our clips, it's going to shorten the clip because it's going to use some of the clip to add the transition. And if we scroll to the very end of the video here, we can see that our clip is now, our videos layer is now shorter than our audio layer. So to fix this, what we want to do is go ahead and zoom in a little bit. We're going to click on the clip that's being transitioned, and we want to make sure where the transition takes place is where the clip should have ended. So we want to back the transition up a little bit so we still see a little bit more of this clip. So now it's transitioning later. So now let's add some transition in between these guys. Let's go back to the light. We'll stick with maybe a little color burn action.
French steak.
I like it. Let's zoom in a little bit. We're going to extend this clip back a little bit to about right there where the next sentence starts. And let's review it.
Louis Le Prince staked his claim in.
It's a little quick. You can see how quick it goes.
Prince staked it.
So let's click back on the timeline and onto the transition. And then using this little slider down here, we can extend it out to about maybe 0.8 of a second.
Louis Le Prince staked his claim.
Looks a little better. You don't want to transition everything because it can get a little predictable. And when the edit gets predictable, people are going to know what to expect, and therefore it's not going to hold their attention as much. All right, so now the next thing that we're going to do to add some flair to this video is add some keyframes. Now, keyframes allow you to add motion to a video or photo, okay? And the way I edit, I like to always have movement in my clips. So whether there's movement taking place in the clip itself, or if it's a photo, for instance, I like to add movement to that photo rather than just looking at a static photo. So to do this, we're going to use the keyframing effect right here inside Capcut. So for this instance, we're going to add a keyframe motion zoom to this clip since it's so long. And although things are moving in the clip, I'm going to add some motion to it just to make it a little more dynamic. So in order to do the keyframe, we want to select the clip, and what I like to do is put the playhead in front of the clip, and then when I click on it, it automatically draws the playhead to the very first frame of that clip. And then this area up here, we're going to click on this diamond with the plus sign next to it, and that's going to put a keyframe on our clip there. You can see by the red diamond. And then we're going to scroll to the very end of this clip and past it. Again, we want to make sure we draw to the last frame, click on it, and the playhead will go there. And then we're going to put another keyframe here, and then right here is where we're going to put the motion. So now we're going to use our fingers and pinch away to zoom up on this clip right here. And now we are zoomed in on the clip, as you can see here. So now when we review the clip here, you can see it has a slow zoom all the way in. And that's how you keyframe. There are two more things I like to do to this video to give it some style, and one of those is by adding music. Now certainly if you're editing TikToks and that whole thing, music is going to be the driving force behind your video, but in this case music is merely going to be a background element since my narrative or my voiceover is the main attraction here. So let's go ahead and we're going to click on this button for sounds, and that's going to launch the Capcut music library. And there you can see there's lots of different tracks in here. You can preview them all. I'm just going to be adding some very kind of like what I consider background music or elevator music, and you can usually find pretty good ones inside the vlog category here. And I have, you can see I have starred a lot of the ones that I enjoy, and basically you want to make sure you find a track that's long enough to match the actual video you just made. So to import this music clip into your timeline, we're simply going to click on the plus button, and that's going to throw it into an audio level here. So now we'll play it.
Wondered when video recording actually began? Well, back in 1888.
Now you can see that the music volume at this point is competing with my audio on the voiceover. So we want to decrease the volume on the music. So to do that, we're going to simply click on the music clip, and then we're going to click on the volume, and we'll probably bring this volume down to like 20, maybe like something like that.
Have you ever wondered?
And now let's play it.
When video recording actually began? Well, back in 1888, French inventor.
All right, that sounds pretty good. You can barely hear it, but you can tell it's there. And we want to go to the end of this video and trim our music clip here so the music ends when the video does. So with it selected, you're going to click on split, and then that shows up there, and you can want to hit the delete button to delete it. Now we're simply going to click it and drag the handle back to where the video ends. You can kind of feel it snap. Now we want to do a couple fades. We don't want this audio just to cut out abruptly, so we're going to click on fade, and the fade out duration is the one at the very end. Put like a 0.5 second fade on it. Now let's review and see what that sounds like.
Foreshadow what was to come of short-form video content.
All right, now let's go ahead, we'll go to the beginning, click on fade again, and we're gonna fade in about 0.5 seconds.
Have you ever wondered when video...
And now we have the fade in. Now the fade in is important because you don't want the music just to abruptly start or abruptly end. It just kind of adds a smoother transition with the audio. And that's how you add music in Capcut. Now the last major step we're going to do to this video is we're going to add subtitles. Subtitles can help bring people into the video regardless if they have sound on and regardless if they can hear or not. And what's really special about Capcut is they have an auto subtitle feature right here. You click on this text button and then right here on auto captions. And so what we're going to do is click the button start, and it's going to auto subtitle our video. So to begin editing your subtitles, the first thing you want to do is increase the size of your subtitles, because right now they're definitely too small to be reading on a mobile device. So to do that, you want to grab a hold of the subtitle in the bottom right corner on this little box icon. Click, hold, and drag to increase the size. And as you do that, some of the words will go off the frame. And don't worry about that. We will fix that in a minute. So right there is about a decent size to be reading on a mobile device. Now we want to go into the batch edit button at the very bottom. And this is where you're going to place paragraphs and actually edit any of the subtitles that need editing for punctuation, etc. To edit, you simply just click inside here and use the title tool right here to make your corrections. Additionally, you want to make sure that we can read the subtitle on screen. So right there, that line on the screen is too long. So what we want to do is hit the return button, and when we do that, it's going to split that subtitle. So now we can see have you ever, and then wondered when video recording actually began. Yeah, it kind of rhymes accidentally. All right, so now that we have the subtitles edited and spaced properly, we can click the check mark to apply it. And so what I like to do is go ahead and click on the clip, and when you do that, you'll have all these buttons down here again, and we're going to click on style. And the first one right here is the font. So we want to select a font that's nice and bold and easy to read. This one right here is pretty easy to read. The next thing we want to do is select the color. White is a good color because it pops out, but you need to put either a stroke or a shadow, and a stroke is like a black outline around the text, and then maybe a shadow of black just to make it really pop off the screen. And as you can see, when you apply it to one subtitle, it applies it to all subtitles. Okay, so now the next thing you want to do with your subtitle is to position the subtitles in a way that's not going to be covered up by the icons and interface of TikTok, Reels, or YouTube Shorts. So now you can just click on it and move it. And what we're going to do is we're going to move it over to the left a little bit and up. And this is kind of the area that you can see it's kind of off center. But you can see on the right side is where the icons would be. On the bottom is where the titles and stuff would be. And so right here is a good spot to where it won't be touched by anything on the interface. So as you scroll through, you can see everything shows up on screen as needed. So now our video has been edited. It has been subtitled. We've added graphics. We've added music. The last thing to do with this video is to export it. And then click on this arrow icon and it will go and export the video. All right, and as you can see, that video has been exported. We can pull it up in the media gallery and see that this video has in fact been exported the way we intended to export. Now this video is ready to post across my socials. And that is how you edit video in Capcut.
And so as you can see, there's a lot of really cool features, and it's actually pretty easy to edit inside Capcut. I hope this video has helped you learn some new tricks, some new processes to be more efficient and more fast in your edits. Once again, thanks for watching VideoZeus, helping you spend less time making better videos.